As organizations move forward in these early parts of the 21st century, most are coming to realize that all of their activities should support the goals and mission of the organization. Additionally, we are coming to realize that training plays an important role in the improvement and success of human performance. Since we do not want training activities to negatively impact the organization, it is necessary to include evaluation in every training program. Evaluation should demonstrate the value that training provides to the organization's mission and goals. The value that training provides to the organization's bottom line will break down the resistance to training initiatives and promote continuous learning and other qualities of learning organizations. This evaluation model will help us to answer the following questions. What do we evaluate? When do we evaluate? How do we evaluate? In other words, we don't plan to evaluate everything, all of the time, and with every evaluation tool. We will be selective in what we evaluate, keep our evaluations as unobtrusive as possible, and use the appropriate evaluation tool. Since we want to involve the entire organization, we will utilize select personnel in our evaluation processes. That will help us to answer the question, who is involved? Knowing that there is no sense in doing an evaluation if we have no use for the results, we'll begin the development of each evaluation process with the question, what do we do with the results? Here is a graphic representation of the proposed evaluation model. In this model, we start by involving stakeholders. We then begin selecting the training interventions that will help us to achieve our goals. Evaluation tools will be developed to assess delivery, usefulness, effectiveness, and outcomes. Reports of these findings will be compiled and improvement recommendations will be shared. Let us look at the various components of this model. This model can be used for any sized unit or the organization as a whole. The first step of the training process involves an analysis of the situation. The actual state of affairs will be compared with the desired state of affairs, and the root cause of the gap between the two will be identified. Evaluation of the root cause of the gap will help us to identify the goals of the change that need to take place. This evaluation will also help to determine if the existing organizational structure will support the change and if the local organizational climate will help to facilitate the change. Changes to the organizational structure, the nature of the organizational climate, and the goals identified by the stakeholders as necessary to make this change will lead us to the selection of proper training tools to achieve the change. The training tools we select to reach the goals identified in our analysis can be categorized into two types: instructional interventions and non-instructional interventions. Instructional interventions include such items as instructor-led training, small group activities and workshops, computer-based training, video-based instruction, self-paced instruction, distance learning, training aids, and on-the-job training. We will need to evaluate both the delivery and the effectiveness of these instructional interventions. Non-instructional interventions include such items as elimination of barriers, job aids, electronic performance support systems, feedback systems, performance expectations, coaching and mentoring programs, process design and improvement, organizational redesign, incentive systems, and knowledge management. We will need to evaluate the usefulness and effectiveness of these non-instructional interventions. As we evaluate each of our training tools and consider the when and how questions, we need to focus on 4 areas: reaction, learning, behavior, and results. Each of these areas are important as we compile our evaluation report. Evaluating the participants' reaction to the training environment will tell us whether we have created instructional environments conducive to learning. Evaluation of the learning will help us to understand if we've put together the proper materials, instruction, and activities to facilitate the participants' acquisition of the knowledge, skills, or attitudes we are trying to convey. An evaluation of behavior changes in the workplace after both instructional and non-instructional interventions will indicate the amount of learning transfer and support. Results are measured by evaluating the change in performance and comparing those to the goals identified by the stakeholders in the original analysis. We should utilize the evaluation reports to improve our training process. These evaluation reports can be utilized to make both formative and summative changes. Ultimately, the evaluation report should help us identify supporting or inhibiting factors of the 5 stages of transfer. We can also use the evaluation reports to determine if and when a program should be terminated. The evaluation process may also identify other performance measures that need to be addressed. Any questions? Thank you for your attention.